Hello and welcome to this nature walk video. This was a family walk with my wife and children, in which I just happened to bring my camera to film what we saw. The walk took place at Roundhay Park in the city of Leeds. Our walk started near the mansion and then headed along Upper Lake, before following the woodland trails near the outskirts of the Roundhay golf course up to Gorge Bridge, before heading back along the geology trail and arriving at Waterloo Lake, then following the lake edge to its most southerly point where the walk finished, and then we went for lunch. The park was fairly quiet as we headed towards Upper Lake, with just the odd dog walker around. We shortly arrived at Upper Lake, which has a fountain. Crayfish can be found in the lake. They've been reintroduced after they had previously died out many years ago. We didn't see any crayfish, but it wasn't long before we came across some wildlife, which was in the form of coots. We carried on along the path and quickly came across more waterfowl. This mute swan family had decided to park their quichetas in the middle of the path, so we went around them. We were soon on the trails, going through the woodland away from the lake. Where a short distance from the lake, someone, or some people, had created a little fairy village. As someone who was inspired by the story of the Cottingley fairies to try and create photos in a similar style with my daughter when she was little, I could appreciate the effort put into this project to bring a little magic to young families who came across it. My children would have loved this had they seen it when they were younger. We hadn't spotted any wildlife since leaving the lake, and this robin my wife spotted was a rare find along the trails. There were other interesting things to see though, like this tree and the ground it was in pulled out onto its side, exposing all the roots on the underside. Wigwams, or teepees, whichever you prefer, made from branches were dotted throughout the woodland, with this one seemingly the property of pirates. Nearby I found this random egg on the ground, possibly a wood pigeon egg taken from a nest. We also saw many types of fungi all along our woodland section of the walk, but I've not got a clue as to what the individual species are. Part of the trail hugged the wall on one side that was at the edge of Roundhay Golf Course, which is where this crow was foraging. The other side of the trail had a steep slope with another trail at the bottom. This was the trail we turned onto when we reached Gorge Bridge at the north end of the park. The little stream flowing under the bridge is Greathead's Beck, a very shallow stream that runs alongside and occasionally crisscrosses the trail. Little wooden walkways bridge the gaps across the crisscrossing sections of the beck, which can be as shallow as a few inches in some parts. While walking the trails, wildlife sightings were scarce. We did hear what sounded like a buzzard's nest, but unfortunately I couldn't see due to the branch coverage in the trees, although my wife said she saw one. We thoroughly enjoyed the trails despite the lack of wildlife, but we soon reached Waterloo Lake and wildlife was there in abundance. Our first sighting was some mallards, and with them was a lone female mandarin, my first ever sighting of one. fishing behind them a cormorant, which didn't seem to be having much luck. In a nearby tree, I spotted this bird, but I couldn't make out what it was. Possibly a water pipit? Further along the lake, 3 cormorants were perched, drying their wings and preening themselves. And a park in Yorkshire wouldn't be complete without some black-headed gulls in attendance. And a little further on from the gulls, a lone magpie was going from branch to branch in a tree. It's hard to imagine that this lake, 33 acres in size and over 60 feet deep in places, is man-made. Named Waterloo Lake, as it was dug out by soldiers after their return from the Battle of Waterloo in 1815 at the end of the Napoleonic Wars. As we neared our finish point, we came across a swan's nest. I had never seen a swan's nest like this before, as it was right at the lake's edge next to a busy pathway. I hope you enjoyed our nature walk in this scenic location. We did, and will definitely be going back to explore the rest of the park. Until next time, ciao for now.